Okay. Welcome to the city of Pasadena, Texas, September 17th, 2019, 6 p.m. council meeting. Invocation will be by Mike Gonzalez of the House of Refuge. Where's the pastor? There's the pastor. And Bruce Lehman, you'll lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Everybody, please stand. Pastor, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's my fault. Come to the microphone. I apologize, Pastor.
This is my first time here also, so I didn't know where to go. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation, City Council, Mayor. Let us bow our heads, please. Close our eyes. Dear Heavenly Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thank you for loving us even so from your boundless and gracious nature. In the scriptures, you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established these very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, Father, graciously grant our mayor and city officials wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our time, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. Bless the agenda that is set before them today, that it may be fruitful and for the common good. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work and play in and around our beloved city of Pasadena. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Councilman Lehman, before you speak, I'm going to ask for this meeting will be closed for 1 second. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay.
Excuse me 1 second.
Well, on a side note, folks, tomorrow is Mr. Lehman's birthday.
Thank you, Thomas.
Should we sing?
Yes.
Plus 50.
Would y'all join us in singing Happy Birthday?
You did it to me.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bruce. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, and I hope the cameras were not on. Thank y'all.
And on the second side note, I hope the majority of the public is out here to lend y'all support for the effective tax rate, which is 57 cents per hundred value. Well, you were out of order. You were out of order. I didn't call it.
Actually, the meeting has actually started, so you can actually talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, the meeting's delayed.
Please, you, Thomas, you were out of order. You don't know what out of order is.
This meeting's back in order, and it'll stay in order. Okay. I'm sorry, Councilman Lehman.
That's
Go ahead,
okay.
sir.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I want to thank our neighborhood network, Clean Streets, everybody involved with Team Up to Clean Up this year. I think they did a wonderful job. Had a lot of good projects were completed. A lot of people that really needed help got assistance, and I just want to thank them for that. Another thing, our police department's recruiting. If you know anybody that would like to be a part of our police department, they can apply, I think, up until, I'm not sure what the date is, but anyway, you can apply now. And National Night Out's coming up first Tuesday in October. If your neighborhood has a National Night Out event, please go to it, get to know your neighbors. This is what makes neighborhoods strong, when neighbors get to know neighbors. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess everybody knows we got a tropical storm. The latest indications I've heard, it's just north of Freeport. But I pray that all citizens are safe and no property damage. But it could last for 2 or 3 days. And if you need any information, watch your local news and our emergency management system. It could be serious. I pray that it's not. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Casados.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for coming out this evening. I know that the weather's kind of bad out there, and as Councilmember Harrison stated, there is a depression out there, so you guys be careful. And I want to thank the men and women in blue coming out this evening, and all the citizens. Thank you very much. I just want to let you all know that I will be making some motions to the budget this evening. It's about $4.5 million worth of savings that we can save the city, and hopefully give the city employees a 3% cost of living increase, a compressed pay scale for the police officers, just to name a couple. So we'll be looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll be able to help y'all out. With that, I pass.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Wheeler.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank everyone coming out. I know it's a dreary night, and everyone's sitting at home, or everyone here. It seems like, unfortunately, happens every time we get some heavy rain like this. Someone tries to make it through some high water that they shouldn't be. If you feel trapped, you can't get out, don't hesitate to call our first responders. They will be there to help you with the appropriate equipment and vehicles. Also want to welcome American Legion members here, Post 521. Thank you for coming out. Looking forward to hearing from y'all. With that, I'll pass.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Caton.
I also like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and being part of city government. The ones that didn't make it out to the barbecue cook-off, you missed a good time. I know I was fortunate enough to judge some of the cook's choice food, and man, it was fantastic. And this weekend, the rodeo starts, so everybody come out and support the rodeo. With that, I pass.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Bass.
Good evening. Thank y'all for coming out in this inclement weather. Hopefully we can make it through and get you guys home before all the rains come in. Stay safe, drive around the large ponds, don't go under underpass and stuff like that. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Leroy there, and also Preston Trail South. I'm glad to see you guys back. And I wanted to mention something. Our family celebrated my parents' 69th wedding anniversary. They're both 89 years old, Ed and Noji Bass, and they're doing fine. A lot of people probably know them through the company that they started, Bass and Meineke, 63 years ago. And at one time, we had about 30 stores and employed a lot of folks here in Pasadena, some of their new startup jobs and stuff. And so I just wanted to give them a happy anniversary. Love you, Mom and Dad. I'll pass.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Chamberlain.
I also would like to welcome everyone here tonight, our officers, former council members, Pat Van Hout and Leroy Stanley, Preston Trails, Mr. Billy Pittman from Mount Vernon. Thank you all for being here. We've got an opportunity on Saturday over on Red Bluff at our maintenance facility. We'll be having a auction for our confiscated police cars that have confiscated cars and also abandoned cars. There's going to be 10 city vehicles that will be auctioned off as well. Bring certified funds, no checks allowed. But you'll pick up a great deal. Some of those cars go $200, $300, $400 up to a couple of $1,000. So please try to get by there and support that. Also this evening, we're going to hear some I would say, some healthy debate tonight on our budget process, and I look forward to those debates that are upcoming. Thank you. With that, I'll pass.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Ibarra.
Well, thank everybody for coming out. Police officers, thank you for coming out. You know, as a city council member, we make important decisions, but one of the things that I believe in is investing in our city employees. They're our most important asset. So I will be supporting Councilmember Casado's amendment for 3% cost of living adjustment and also for condensing the pay scale for the police officers. That I'll pass.
Thank you, sir. Okay, brings us down to citizens wishing to speak to council. First, we have David Bright.
Well, after last Tuesday's meeting 2 weeks ago, I have been talking to a lot of the citizens in Pasadena about why it's so divided up here on the vote for our taxes, raises, everything. I have been asked by several over at Kroger over on Spencer to tell District A, C, D, and E, thank you for standing up for the citizens and the employees of Pasadena. I'll get to the other four here in a minute. They liked what you said, the cuts, save on taxes, give raises. We've got council members over here that says they want to get the city going in the right direction, and he knows, or the one councilman says they know that we're spending too much money, and it's his job to try to get it back on track. I don't know where that went. It's like everything else up here. It's like kind of like just a burp in the wind. Whoever did it feels good about it. Then you got some up here said, thank you for coming and being part of city government. How can it be city government if it's always 5-4 and everything passes for the mayor? I told the people there was only one reason that happened. Dad always said, if you have something to say in public, have the nerve to do it and the backbone to stand up. I told everybody you need to watch them because they all do behind closed doors. You heard that last week. But my problem is with these four every week voting yes for the mayor, I told the people over at Kroger, their head's only about 2 to 2.5 feet off the floor, at the most 3 foot. And they wanted to know why. I said, well, that's about to where the mayor's butt's at, and that's who they kiss on all the time.
You're out of order, sir. David.
Wait a minute.
You know a
Stop
lot
my
better than
time.
that. You know a lot better than that. Don't do that.
No, I do. I know exactly what goes on behind closed door. You don't bring it out here.
I'm talking about your comments, sir. I don't mind you talking, saying anything, but
This
don't
is
say
not
that.
my time. He ain't got the floor. I do.
I made a point of order, sir.
I didn't hear that. All I said, you told me to shut up about what I basically
Never said the
got.
word shut up, sir.
Yeah, whatever. How much time I got left?
Go ahead and finish your time.
47 seconds. Well, I'll probably get gavelled again, but if y'all need some chapstick, call me. I'll get you some.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Joseph Thomas and the Veteran Group.
Mayor, City Council. My name is Joseph Thomas. Everybody, I believe, knows me on this City Council. Tonight, I have the commanders of the Disabled American Veterans, Mr. Bill Bezdek, Mr. Dave Roy, Commander of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and Mr. Al McQueen, Commander of the American Legion Post 521. Today, as we did last year, we commemorate and remember our MIAs and POWs. Just a couple of figures to throw out at you. From the beginning of World War I to today, we have 81,589 Americans that are missing in action. Of that, 4,157 are from the state of Texas. From Vietnam alone, 1,587 are missing from the United States. 99 of those reside in the state of Texas. Tonight, what we would like to do is present to you each organization has an MIA POW flag, and they'd like to present these to the city of Pasadena with the request that not only today, not only on the 20th, which is actual MIA POW day, but every day we remember those that are still missing in action, and those are prisoners of war. And believe it or not, in Vietnam, there's still POWs, and those are unaccounted for. So we'd like to ask that the city of Pasadena fly these flags over the buildings that the city owns. They can be flown underneath your American flag. And that's one of those things where we get into, educating folks about the flag code. But tonight, we'd like to present these to y'all.
Thank you so much.
Mayor?
You want just to come forward? Yes.
City Council, if y'all want to get behind us, we're going to take a quick.
Well, thank you, JT.
Either way.
Everybody ready? Madam Secretary. Stephen Hoferson.
Good evening, Mayor Wagner, City Council members. Nice to see you all here. I'm Steve Halverson. I live in the Sunset Terrace neighborhood of Pasadena, District B, and I've lived there for 30 years. This is the first time that I felt, a little bit scared about crime in my neighborhood. My first introduction to violent crime in my neighborhood was last year, September 2018. I came home about 5:30 in the evening, and shots were fired right across the street from my house, and my neighbor was pistol whipped right after the shooting. Luckily, he wasn't shot. Immediately after the incident, he cordoned off his house, and he put a big metal gate around his fence, or he made a fence. He also put surveillance cameras around his house. After that, it seemed like everything stopped. So I thought, okay, we're safe, probably just out of the ordinary. But then a month later, on the 28th of October, a friend called me and said there was a murder across the street from his house. I think it looked like some kind of drug deal gone bad or whatever, but the guy was walking down the street, broad daylight, 2:20 p.m. I got there at 2:20. I think it happened around 1 p.m. These were happening during the day. So that's also what started to scare me, is that these are happening in broad daylight. Normally they happen in the evening, people with alcohol, drugs, whatever. Now let's fast forward to October of 2019. On Cactus Street on the 1400 block, we had a lady that was shot in a drive-by shooting. She lived till the 8th of July, and she passed away. On the 4th of July, they came back. So they had the audacity not only to shoot and do a drive-by shooting on the 3rd, but they came back and did the same thing on the 4th. Pretty bold. So these crimes are clustering, I noticed, in hot zones in the area. The timing seems to be around late summer or early fall, kind of when kids start going back to school. Maybe they were low on money. I don't know what's going on here. These bold and rampant crimes seem to be on the increase in Pasadena. Petty crime is also observed as well on social media. I've gotten on the social media sites lately, and I realized that I've seen tools being stolen from people's carports, bicycles being stolen out of people's yards, car break-ins. When I was actually running for office, I got word, and I never had that last time I ran the first time, and people didn't really talk about crime that much, but they did the second time. And they said, I had car break-ins and things of that nature. This is something we shouldn't accept as routine in our areas. Pasadena is considered a safe community, has in the past. Now we're seeing changes that we should not normalize this behavior. We shouldn't tolerate it in our communities at all. The changes that I would like to see is more patrols in our communities, especially in the areas where we know hot zones exist. And I think we need authorization for overtime for our officers to work in the areas that we see as hot zones. We have a great police academy here, great training. We want to retain the folks to stay here in Pasadena. And to do that, how do we do that? The compressed pay salary we're just talking about, I think that's going to be elaborated on a little bit more by the other city council members here. Also raises for our police officers. I believe we
Thank
should
you,
do
Stephen.
that as well.
Stephen, thank you.
And not a
Stephen.
raise for our mayor.
Thank you.
A mayor is going to raise his salary, but what about our first responders?
Thank you, sir. I
All right,
appreciate that.
thank you, sir.
Side note, the mayor does not raise his own pay. Okay, Brian, please. Go ahead, Sarge.
Thank you. Council, Mayor, I'm the president of the Pasadena Police Officers Union. I'm here to speak to y'all and ask y'all for y'all support to reduce our current pay scale of 20 years down to 12 years, and also a COLA for all city employees. As the president of the union for the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to speak to y'all on many occasions. One thing y'all have all in common is y'all say how great this police department is. Some say we're the best in Texas, some say we're best in the nation. The concern our members and myself have is when we ask for your support regarding issues such as compressed pay scale and the COLA, we are frequently asked to take sides. Currently, the current employees and the future officers of this police department hope this mayor and council can work together and set aside partisan blinders, abandon ideological entrenchments, so that the men and women who serve this and protect this community may be rewarded with a compensation plan that reflects their superior service and sacrifice that is demanded of them. We come to work every day. We put our lives on the line every day for the citizens of Pasadena. We're asking y'all for y'all support. That's all I ask of you, and that's all these officers ask of you, for y'all support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarge. Appreciate that. Sarge, I will say that the chief has gave the finance the compressed scale. Finance is working on it. As soon as we have the numbers, we're looking at it. It's going to happen. The amendments that you're going to be hearing, or the motions you're going to be hearing about doing it, I promise you, they can't even tell you what the number is.
Point of order?
I am talking, sir.
This is out of.
It is not out of
You're not
order,
allowed to
sir.
respond to speakers. And
Yes, I am.
We're not voting on this measure right now.
Yes, I can, sir. Yes, I can, sir. Y'all can't. The
Mayor,
chair sure can.
let's be consistent. We're not
I'm
allowed
very
to respond.
consistent, sir. Thank you. So anyways, we'll talk about this later, but thank you, Sarge. Robert Jeter III.
Good evening, council. First up, I would appreciate if our county law enforcement, not city, mind you, would enforce the law in the event of future protests that disrupt travel and commerce. The port was shut down far too long to get an organized group of hippies off a bridge. This unfairly impacted the jobs of numerous Pasadena residents and should be considered unacceptable in the future. Second, I appreciate the city attorney Lee Clark's opinion last meeting on the proper procedure for council comments to correct the administration and keep the city functioning as properly as possible. It is very important to the citizens of Pasadena that we do things properly here in this room. Third, earlier this year, I agreed to a reasonable request for the right reasons to suspend protesting against the tax rate increases. That request expired in May. I have been under no known obligation since then to not protest for decreasing the burden to taxpayers. I feel as if I've been very generous to this administration and to council in this approach. I would appreciate good faith cooperation of cutting spending and cutting taxes. Thank you, council.
Thank you, sir. John Finley.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I primarily came up here to say, I'm not in favor of tax increases, so I go with the effective tax rate in order to kind of help facilitate that in case you guys are having trouble with money or whatever. You could strike down 2019-152 to get 2 new fancy trucks for a total of $82-something thousand. We got vehicles that we can source from other venues. This is my first time up here, so forgive me if I seem like a little bit of an idiot because I'm a little bit nervous. But anyway, I didn't expect to be singing happy birthday, so happy birthday, Mr. Lehman. I hope you enjoy it. I don't know you, but truly have best wishes in mind for you. And I can't think of anything personally that would be better than helping Pasadena families keep more money in their pockets. I'd also encourage the council, the police department as well. There's been some interesting discussion about the crime and safety things like that in Pasadena. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to encourage people to adopt a self-defense mindset, encourage them to get their carry permits and things like that. With that, I yield, if I can, I'll yield all my time to Mr. Wheeler. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Mayor, is that possible?
No, no. Ricky Brooks?
Being very consistent.
Very consistent, sir.
Mayor, council, and fellow Pasadena citizens, I rise today because being silent on this matter any longer would be morally wrong. When I read the papers and when I'm able to attend the city council meeting and witness the negativity and divisiveness regarding our city's affairs, I am saddened. For some of you whom I'm addressing, these may be merely political in nature for you, or it may be an actual concern or issue. However, the infighting and our grandstanding does nothing for our city as a whole, and more of it disengages citizens from the process. I implore that you never forget about the very people who give you the distinct honor and privilege to serve in this great city. As one of those citizens, I'm calling for a change in the overall decorum of these meetings. I do so because many times I've attended, and in the presence of school children, these less than adequate displays of negativity and divisiveness have erupted. I nor the children come to the city council to witness that. I would venture to say that the majority of Pasadena citizens expect better. Improvement in this area is therefore required. Abraham Lincoln on June 16, 1858, in a speech stated an indisputably true statement when he said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." Some may question how these words stated by Abraham Lincoln were and are indisputably true, and I answer because they first originated from the mouth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, as written in the books of Mark, Matthew, and Luke. I therefore implore that we as a people cease and desist any and all actions that serve to divide us. I also implore you as leaders of this great city in the world, the greatest city in the world, lead in this manner and set the example. In this day and time of sensationalism and political polarization, we in Pasadena need to set a new trend, a trend that brings forward abundant amounts of professionalism, compassion, and decorum to tough issues that at times may need or deserve to have vigorous debate, but even these issues can be addressed with respect, professionalism, and proper decorum. We can accomplish this by making it clear that we're not Pasadena North, we're not Pasadena South, we're not District B, C, D, F, G, or H. Instead, proclaim clearly, we are Pasadena. With that being said, it's time for unification. I implore that each of you find it in your heart to take the actions to do just that. We reap what we sow, so let us sow unification in every action that we take and in every word that we speak. I ask that you as leaders utilize the proper venues to resolve disputes or disagreements. If these venues do not exist, create them. If we have some that are already there, use them. This is not the place for it. I want to thank each of you for stepping up and taking on the vitally important role of leading our city. Your jobs are not easy and are filled with pitfalls, and we understand that not everyone will be satisfied. But this is why we are structured in the manner in which we are, because we need each other, and together we can continually improve the city of Pasadena. Please consider my plea for more decorum and unity from the leaders in these meetings, and for actions and words that are not divisive, but instead actions or words that promote professionalism, unification, as well as compassion and respect towards those whom we may disagree with.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Appreciate that. Okay, this brings us to close this council meeting to hold a public hearing. Madam Secretary, you want to read the public hearing?
Public hearing at 6 p.m. in Council Chamber, City Hall, for the purpose of hearing public comments on the proposal to adopt a 2019 tax rate of 0.600577 per $100 value, which is greater than the effective tax rate of 0.570342 per $100 value.
Okay, we have two speakers signed up. John Finley. did you want to speak on this, or were you just speaking on that?
You know, you can blend them all together. Can I yield my time to Mr. Wheeler?
No, sir, but you can talk if you want. Thank you, sir.
I don't like taxes. I'm a father of two. I'm a husband. I've been in Pasadena for longer than I can remember. My wife and I, we got married about 6 years ago. First thing we did after we got out of the church, we went down to the Don Key in a stretch limo. It was fantastic. And, you know, since then, Pasadena's remained pretty stable in my eyes. But here in the last couple of years, you know, things are trending away from that. And one of those things is property taxes. I watched my taxes go from nearly $3,000 up to about $4,259 right now. And that's just no good in my opinion.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Ricky Brooks, did you want to talk on public hearing on this?
Yes.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
So, Mayor, City Council, you know that I have rose before on these tax hikes. I think last time we talked about this was coming right out of Harvey. So I don't know that there's enough information on the purpose of these raises. So I'm certainly asking for somebody to get with me as a citizen to let me know so I can let the rest of my folks at Preston Charles South know exactly what these monies are going for. As I said after Harvey and when we were putting that forward, I said if every cent of that tax increase went towards flood control, and every quarter you were able to show us where the projects were being done and where that money was going, I could support that. If you cannot do that, I make the same proposal to you. If you cannot show me where all them 3 cents are going, and if they're going to flood control, I'm in. If they're not, then I'm out. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. On the rollback tax, it's 1/2 cent less than the tax we pay now. On the effective tax rate, it's 3 cents less. There is no tax increase, period, on this. I don't know where y'all got the information from. There is no tax increase. Zero. 1/2 cent less, 3 cents less. And with the rollback tax, which this administration's for, again, 1/2 cent less, it gives us $3 million to do exactly what you're fixing to hear some motions about for the pay for the police, the COLAs for the employees, and also projects in districts out here that need to be done. If we go to the effective tax rate, we lose that $3 million. We're still going to work with the police in the COLA, but we're going to lose some projects, including maybe even a fire truck. That's what's on the table. There's nothing else on the table. I can't help if your house value went up. That has nothing to do with city taxes. Don't confuse that. We're talking about city taxes and city taxes only.
Point of information, Mayor. Are we able to discuss it as well?
No, sir, not yet. Excuse me, sir.
Why not?
Is it because we're opening this up to the public to talk? Anyone else want to talk? Yes, sir. You may step up, sir. And state your name, please.
Yeah, my name is Jerry Jones, and I have addressed the council before, and the last time there was a tax increase, I addressed council in the same manner. What the mayor's just said is a matter of fact. The city tax rate isn't going up. They're going to roll the tax rate down 1/2 cent. But, the reason they talk about effective tax rate, the effective tax rate takes into account the fact that your property has been appraised for a higher value. So even though the city is saying, the mayor is saying, the tax rate is coming down, well, yeah, the tax rate's coming down. But if you're paying 60 cents per hundred on $1,200, that's a different amount than if you're paying it on $1,000. And since the appraisal district has chosen to raise everybody's property value, even if the tax rate stayed exactly the same, you're paying more. So it's not a city hike, but it is a state hike because the appraisal districts are countywide, statewide by county. So the effective tax rate is an increase, even though the mayor says the city's tax rate is going down. What you're paying out of your pocket is going up. and that's a fact. Now, another thing, we have a lot of projects going on around the city where they've been able to get some funding from FEMA and maybe some offsets from the state, and a lot of different ways to pay for some of these water projects, flood drainage projects. Every one of those checkbooks, FEMA, the state, city, every one of those checkbooks come out of an account that I'm putting money into. So it's great that we're getting money from FEMA, but that's my money too. Just like the city tax dollars are my money and the state tax dollars are my money. So every time we do a project, you're spending my money and your money. So keep that in mind.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience want to speak? Going once? Going twice? The council meeting will meet on Tuesday, October 1st, 2019 at 10 a.m. and Tuesday, October 8th, 2019 at 9:30 a.m. in the council chambers located at City Hall right here to vote on the adopted tax rate of 2019 property tax rate. With that, the public meeting is closed and we'll open the council meeting back up. That brings us down to presentations of minutes.
Wait a minute. You said we could talk about the tax rate.
You'll have time to talk to here in a little bit during the council meeting.
Oh, just a little bit?
Go ahead, sir. We have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Shane Bine. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Brings us down to progress payments. Motion Ibarra. Second Caton. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Brings us down to finance resolutions. Motion Lehman. Second Shanebine. Any questions?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
I want to abstain on the $45 payment to Bass Money.
Yes, sir. All in favor?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak on that as well. Thank you. I'm going to be voting no on this payment to Bass and Meineke. I didn't vote on it last time. Doing some research on payments and whatnot, I found that the city was doing some violating a ordinance that we have as far as buying auto parts from Bass and Meineke, even though we had a contract with Allen & Kerber for these auto parts. Now, I sent out an email and to the purchasing department director, Karen Wallace, and she stated to me that these parts that they weren't in conflict with the ordinance because they were buying automotive batteries instead of auto parts. So there's not a conflict there. So I then asked her to send me receipts so that I could see and prove that this was in fact what was going on. I have yet to see that, so therefore I can't support this check, Carrie. Now, that being said, after doing some more research, I found that we have about 7 contracts right here from 2011 to 2017 for automotive batteries. And this right here, these are all to Bass and Meineke. Now, what I find awful funny is that if we're buying batteries from him, why don't we have a contract anymore? This is the crazy thing that's going on here at the city. What happened was the mayor and Councilmember Bass got together and says, hey, you don't have to worry about a contract. We'll just go ahead and give you the business anyway. And now we have.
Point of order is exactly right. We've never had that
now,
meeting.
ma'am, stop my time. Stop my time.
He can't holler point of order. We got
Stop my time, please.
No, we're not.
Would you please stop my time?
Keep talking.
We got to vote.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
out of order.
So, okay. So, long story short is what happened is now we've got not a contract. We got the city doing business with Bass and Meineke for batteries that we always had a contract for. Now all of a sudden it's not necessary, and now we're not even paying the prices that a contract would give you. So now we're paying full value of the batteries, and I can't support this. These are backroom deals going on all day long, and it's sad. It is very sad.
Mayor, I'd like to speak to this, please.
Go ahead, sir.
I hadn't finished yet.
I yield.
Thank you. So again, all I'm saying is that let me tell you this, I'm not doing this to be mean to anybody. What I'm trying to get to the bottom of is to make sure that this city is being responsible with the money that we are spending. Our financial department is in violation of ordinances, and I am trying to put a stop to it.
Your time's up, sir. Councilor Chamberlain.
Mayor, in response to Mr. Bass's payments, these are services already rendered. He has filed the legal paperwork, and I'll state it again from last council meeting. It's on record. He has followed the P-card policy. And for someone to say we can't buy a battery, one battery, or $1,000 worth of auto parts at a local business that's been in our city for 63 years, there's something wrong with that. I mean, we have city vehicles that is down, not producing any valid work because the workers can't go to work because they need a battery changed. Run right down the street, get a battery, let's put them back to work to help provide city services. You know, we need to look at what's best for the city of Pasadena, and a $45 payment for a battery or for a light bulb, you know, we need to understand what's going on, and we need to pay people that are providing services to our city.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I was involved with it.
Mr. Harrison, he's first.
You get first, okay.
This stuff here, it's simple. The city charter lays out the procedures when we go out for a contract. The city charter and ordinances lay out when and how we use P cards to purchase things. These things are not being followed. If this contract were competitively bid to a responsible bidder like we do all of our other contracts, there'd be no problem. We've been voting on this for years. But as we found, it's exactly right. It's not a contract, and it should be, and it has been. But suddenly, it's just, hey, go down there and purchase whatever you want from Bass and Meineke at retail rate. And then so what Councilman Casados was trying to do is like, well, let me get some information. Maybe there's nothing going on here. But department heads will not turn the information over. When we asked about where are these gas cards, some city employees have gas cards. Councilman Casados, hey, where is this money going? Department heads will not turn this money over. Then the mayor sends a memo out to department heads and says, do not give any information to council members.
Not true.
I'll post the memo to my Facebook page afterwards.
Please do.
It's so trying to get information, and when you talk about working together, there are laws, policies, agendas, and our charter that is supposed to govern this city. And we want to make sure that is being taken care of. And as soon as we get to the bottom of this to find out where this money's going, where are the receipts, what's being purchased. Not to mention, we're just year to date, we're at over $40,000 worth of expenses to Bass and Meineke. It's not $5 or $40 or over $40,000 worth of payments. And we need to know where that money's going. And if we can save money, save the citizens money instead of raising taxes.
Any other, Mr. Harrison, you want comments?
Make it short and sweet. I was on council when we changed the contract. We had a contract with Morgan Auto Supply, which is right across the street from Maintenance Services. And a friend of mine is a District A council member. We were the only two voted against it. But everybody in Maintenance Services wanted to keep it with Morgan Auto Supply. But it was the administration at that time, they wanted to change it. But the reason I didn't want to change it because what I was told and researched at the time, Morgan Auto Supply had General Motors products. And I learned a lot about aftermarket products. Don't ever buy aftermarket products because that's what we were getting from Bass and Meineke. And that's what we're getting today. There's no warranty. They're going to come by and say there is a warranty, but I know what happened back then. And it's better to buy General Motors products. I'd rather buy American instead of buy from Brazil. You know, we've always been that way. If the city can, at all possible, buy American-made products. But we don't do that anymore. And so therefore, and also, I read Robert's Rules of Order. I've read it time and time again. There's no such thing. And we have an ordinance that says we shall follow the Robert's Rules of Order. But we don't do that. There's no such thing as abstain in Robert's Rules of Order. It's either yes or no vote what you're supposed to say. And he can't abstain. He did file the proper paperwork, but he found information that we got a contract with another individual. It's not fair to the other individual. And somebody said last week, well, we got trade in Pasadena. We're trading Pasadena if they got a contract, but they don't because somebody from LaPorte's got a contract. So therefore, Madam Secretary, I'll vote no on the check as well. Thank you.
Okay, any other comment on this? You all right, sir?
I'm going to be voting no on Bass Meineke, and my position's always been clear as a council member since 2009. I've always believed that a sitting council member should not be doing business with the city. I don't care who it is. Not only Councilmember Bass, there was another council member at one time that was trying to do business with the city. I'll call that council member also. So I'm very consistent that I just don't believe that a sitting council member should be doing business with. It's just not good. It clouds objectivity, and I just don't think it's good business for the city. Now, I have come to Councilmember Bass 5 years ago. I went to his office, and I said, look, your contract is up. I will be supporting it, but I hope that you don't bid for this contract again. We talked. I didn't sit here and talk bad about him. I went to him and said, hey, look, I just don't think it's a good idea. He gave me his word that he wasn't going to bid for the contract, and he didn't. But he's still getting the work. Now, some council members are going to say that it's a few batteries here and there. It's $40,000 worth of batteries. It's not $100. It's $40,000 more. And they're talking about, well, it's a local business. Well, we have other local businesses like Willard's Auto Parts. You have Auto Nation. You have AutoZone. You can go on and on and on. This is not about Councilmember Bass. It's not trying to attack Councilmember Bass. I have a good relationship with Councilmember Bass, but I just don't think it's a good idea for a council member to do business with the city. And so I won't be supporting that.
Okay.
That'll pass.
Okay, any other comment? Okay, before, can I get Karen Wallace out here, please? Ms. Wallace, would you try to clear this matter up for us, please?
There is a contract for auto parts with Allen and Kerber. It is ordinance 2018-065 that was solicited for specific auto maintenance parts. Filters, brake pads, spark plugs, things like that. Bass and Meineke did not bid on that. Automotive batteries is what we're talking about. That is a separate commodity. It is not on the list of anything we're purchasing from Allen and Kerber. Additionally, Local Government Code 252 is very clear about the statutory limits of formal sealed bidding. That is a $50,000 annual expenditure. At this point, we are not spending $50,000 on automotive batteries. When we get to that point, we will do a formal sealed bid, just like we do for the other auto parts.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor.
You're out of order, sir. You're out of order, sir.
So we have an ordinance.
Out of order, sir. You're out of order.
We have an
You're
ordinance
out of order, sir.
that states that
You're
they
out of order,
cannot
sir.
enter into
You're
a
out of order,
contract
sir. You're
without,
One
it's
more
over
time, Cindy, you're gonna be dismissed from
$2,500.
this meeting.
I call for the question.
One more word. You're out of order. You're gonna be dismissed.
Mayor, there's
You're out of order also, sir.
I just have a question.
You don't have a question? No, sir. Okay, we're voting on it now.
Mayor, when you call a question, you gotta have a vote, and the majority's gotta say yes.
2/3.
2/3.
What's the question?
I had a point of information. Our city charter.
You called for questions, so we're voting on what we're voting for.
No, I had a point of, he called for a question.
Oh, okay, then we'll go for the question. Sorry, I thought it was
According
you.
to Robert's Rules of Order, the council votes gotta have majority.
Yes, sir.
Council members to honor the.
I do know that, sir. So we're voting.
We never do use it. We need to use it sometime.
All in favor?
What?
Call the question.
What we're voting on? The finance.
We're voting on the question or the finance?
Finance.
Call the question.
He called the question.
We're voting on the finance resolution.
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No on Bass Meineke.
No on Bass and Meineke.
Okay. You got that? 4 noes on Bass and Meineke and 4 yeses on Bass and.
Got Councilmember Abera, Harrison, Casados, and
Yes.
Wheeler. Yay on everything, and then nay on the Bass and Meineke, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
How does council, can we have a roll call?
We don't need a roll call.
Well, I'd like
think
to
that's
know
very
how Councilman Bass is voting.
I abstain.
You can't do that, Robert Rule of Order. No.
You're out of order, sir. You're out of order. Okay, that brings us down. Personnel changes A. Motion Lehman. Second Caton. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
We have 1 no. Two noes. Harrison's no. Okay, Madam Secretary, that brings us down to final readings, and we'll hold 157 and 160. Vote
Okay.
separately. 160 will be before 157.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 2019-129, grant franchise to Pasadena Performance Products, LP for 8-inch NGL pipeline. Ordinance 2019-130, grant franchise to Pasadena Performance Products, LP for 16-inch refined petroleum products pipeline. Ordinance 2019-145, grant totaling $2,966,696 from the Houston-Galveston area council for replacement of 13 sanitation vehicles through HGAC vehicle emissions reduction incentive grant program. Ordinance 2019-146, repayment of HUD Emergency Solution Grants Program funds in the amount of $52,359.77. Ordinance 2019-147, annual contract with Butler Animal Health Supply LLC DBA Covitrust North America for the purchase of veterinary pharmaceuticals and medical supplies. Ordinance 2019-148, purchase of Ultra HD broadcast video cameras, camera control units, and related equipment from B&H Photo, $216,676.31. Ordinance 2019-149, purchase of Ditch Witch horizontal directional GeoJT 225A from EKA Government Sales Experts, $263,425.63. Ordinance 2019-150, purchase of 2019 Hino 268A 1,200-gallon refined fuel truck from Rush Truck Center, $156,368. Ordinance 2019-151, purchase of two 2020 Ford Explorers, one 2020 Ford F-350, and five 2020 Ford F-450 trucks from Silsbee Ford, $329,010.75. Ordinance 2019-152, purchase of one 2020 Chevrolet Suburban LS and one 2020 Chevrolet Tahoe LT from Lake County Chevrolet, $82,692. Ordinance 2019-153, extend contract with United Rentals for emergency rental of a 1,200 kVA generator to provide temporary power to City Hall, $110,000. Ordinance 2019-154, agreement with Healthcare Visions for professional advisory services to provide assessment of emergency medical services. Ordinance 2019-155, amend ordinance number 2019-108, an agreement with GrantWorks Inc. for professional consulting services related to federally funded programs and projects administered by the City of Pasadena to update funding sources. Ordinance 2019-156, appropriating funds to pay emergency electrical services invoice E3 Electrical Ltd. in the amount of $58,019.31. Ordinance 2019-158, accepting, approving, and adopting the valuation and assessment of all real and personal property in the City of Pasadena, Harris County, Texas for the 2019 tax year, designating the Harris County Tax Assessor Collector as the responsible official to prepare effective and rollback rates, and certifying a 2019 tax collection rate, providing for a repealing clause and containing a severability clause. Ordinance 2019-159, contract with CTEH LLC for air monitoring on an as-needed basis. Ordinance 2019, that was it.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
That was
We have a
it.
motion. Motion Lehman, second Bass. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I'm going to be voting against no on 2019-152. It's $82,000 for two Tahoes. It's two luxury vehicles that, to me, the explanation that I've been given is going to be used for travel for city employees. I think there's a better good use of taxpayer money. We can go buy a Malibu or an Impala much cheaper than this, and so I won't be supporting this.
Okay, sir.
Mayor?
Go ahead, sir.
I'm also not going to be supporting ordinance 2019-152 for the same reasons. Also, would like to speak to 2019-158, accepting, approving, and adopting the evaluation and assessment of real personal property. And I want to, this ties in, this ordinance specifically ties in, Harris County sets property valuations. And so when they come back to the city of Pasadena and say, hey, your property values have gone up 10, 12, 15%, whatever it is, and then we roll back the tax rate a penny or two, well, you're still going to be paying out of pocket 10 to 12, 14% more in your property taxes, depending on where you live. And that's why the state of Texas has set limits on what that property tax rate can be. And I want to read the definition of a rollback rate. The rollback rate is the maximum tax rate above the effective rate that is allowed by law before voters must approve the next tax rate. Presently, that rollback rate is 8%. So that's saying is on average, citizens here in Pasadena are going to be coming 8% more money out of pocket this year if we go with the rollback rate. And I know you can play around with the numbers and the ratio and proportion to debt and all these different things, but I think at the end of the day, what families care about is what is coming out of my pocket, and what we are going to be passing is the max rate allowed by law. With that, I'll pass.
Thanks, sir. Any other comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, sir.
As last time it stated, all we're doing here is adopting the assessed value from Harris County. That I pass.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment?
Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
I just want to say I'm going to be voting no on 2019-152 as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
And
Any other comment?
yes, Mayor.
No, you already had your comment, sir.
Well, you go around once, I get the second chance.
That's pretty good, but no, thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
I actually agree with Councilman Wheeler. Well said. And you support my point 100% on your comments. And we had an effective tax rate of 0.57, and we changed that to go up to 0.61. Now we have an opportunity to lower it to 0.60 to give all of our police officers and to accept the tax rolls the way they're presented from Harris County. But here's the key. He answered the question for me. Harris County is raising your taxes. The city of Pasadena wants to lower your taxes. And with that, I pass.
Thank you, sir. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And we got the noes on
152.
one, yeah. Do we have a no on 158? Does someone have a no on that?
There were some nays on 158 too, I thought.
I don't think so.
Oh, no, y'all,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No. Just 152. I had the nay.
Just
Three.
152, we had 3 no votes on 152.
Yeah, just 3 on that one. Got it.
All right.
Okay.
Madam Secretary, it brings us down to 160.
Yes, sir. Approving rates for medical, dental, vision, voluntary life, accidental death, and dismemberment for active employees and flexible spending, maximums for plan year 2020.
Mayor, point of information. We never took a vote on all the ordinances that we just, that she read on consent agenda.
Okay,
Can
sir.
you go ahead and
All
vote
in,
on it?
yeah, I think we said all in favor.
No, she didn't take a vote on it. You counted the no votes, but you didn't count the yes votes and what,
Well, I think if the no votes were counted, I mean, the yes votes were,
yeah, but you didn't say motion passed or didn't pass. There was no vote. Everybody, you just said which were the no votes, and that was it.
okay, then, it passes. Go ahead.
Approving rate, this is ordinance 2019-160. Approving rates for medical, dental, vision, voluntary life, accidental death, and dismemberment for active employees and flexible spending maximums for the plan year 2020 and 2023 65 retirees medical, dental rates, and 65 and older retirees Medicare supplement rates.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend.
We need a
Okay,
motion.
let's do a motion on this, and then we'll do that. You can have the motion for this. We need a second? Second. We have a second? And now?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to amend 2019-160, to amend it on final reading to substitute attached Exhibit A. When we had the information at our last council meeting, we voted not to raise our employees' insurance, and it got lost in the message in our last council meeting with other discussions. But this is the exhibit to place on the record of the benefits that our employees are going to be receiving at no increase.
Can we need a second on the motion? Second, Lehman. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Go back on the 160 to vote on. Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Madam Secretary brings us down to the,
157?
yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2019-157, adopted the annual budget for the city of Pasadena for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2019, and ending September 30, 2020.
Motion.
We have a motion by Wheeler, second by Lehman.
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
I would like to make a motion to amend this budget. I make a motion to amend the 2019-2020 budget ordinance, 2019-157, to move $2.4 million from account 33180 fund balance to account 7001 for a 3% cost of living increase for city employees, and to move $637,799 from account 33180 fund balance to account 7001 for a 12-year compressed pay scale for Pasadena police officers.
Motion on the floor. We have a second. Any questions?
Mayor?
Go ahead, sir.
As we spoke about this last time, I know we don't agree with everything with each other here on city council, but I feel like when you set out to do a budget, when you start the budget process, the first thing you should do is make sure your city's employees are taken care of. And we know that we are in a time of times are good. The economy's booming. It's the longest stretch of economic growth in American history. But with that being said, that means your property values are going up. Harris County's not raising your property values. Property values are going up. They're the ones that assessed it. Things are getting more expensive. Healthcare is getting more expensive. And if we're doing well as a city, we should make sure that we take care of our employees. And I hope, I mean, this is one of those things that's, to me, it's pretty simple. Take care of your employees. Take care of the police officers. They're the most valuable asset we have.
Okay, any other comments?
Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
Another statement is when you first prepare a budget, when you've done budgets before for over 20 years, the first thing you do is you look at your income and you look at your expenses, and then you take care of your employees. Because if you don't have the revenue and you promise your employees that you're going to give them raises and increases, you set up people for failure. And you can go out of business and then nobody has a job. So your first criteria is your income, your revenue, and your expenses. Then you go and take care of your employees to the best of your ability. So with that being said, we have looked at our income. We have looked at our expenses. Healthcare did not go up. 0.0 increase in our employees' healthcare. And that tends to get overlooked. So we have to approve this budget. We need to look at our tax rate, and then we take care of our employees 100% like we've all agreed on with the compression steps and also the 2% COLA. So it's the right way to do it.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment?
Yes, Mayor. I've heard a lot tonight, about people talking this and that, but the Democratic way is to talk on this table up here. If people want us to keep quiet, that we're not representing the people. We have no business being up here. But there's facts going on in this city that I found out that I don't like. And I don't mention names because, you say their respect. But what's going on now is the city controller is going behind our back. She's talked to two council members, asking them to support the 60% tax rate, and it's in the budget. The budget, they talk about they're going to support all this. They're just kicking the insurance down the road. They didn't fix it. They just kicked it down the road for future problems. But the controller has no business talking to city council members. I know she talked to two, but that's not her job. She works for the city council. She may have talked to five, and that's conflict of interest. Who's she working for? Is she working for the city council, for the checks and balance? This council makes statements up here, and we make motions. We only have one time a year to legislate the budget. That's what our duty is. If we don't do that, we don't have the business up here. And I get tired of our controller. Every memo sent out, it's sent to the mayor's office, to the administrative aide. We have no checks and balance here. Until we have checks and balance, I'm going to keep on discussing. But we got a budget here tonight. The budget is based on 60 cents per 100 evaluation. It's in here. They talk about they're going to give pay raises to city employees. They're going to give suppression to the police officers. If they're going to do it now. Do not wait until we see a tax rate. We got to support the effective tax rate.
Thank you, sir.
That I passed.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment?
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
So I guess my fellow council member, District H, is against compressing the pay scale and the cost of living, based on the statements, but I'm a fiscal conservative, and if the city could not afford a pay raise, if the city could not afford to give a cost of living, I would be the first one to tell you no. I'll be straight with you. There's plenty of money to do a COLA. There's plenty of money to do a compression of the pay scale. This administration has had the compressed pay scale for probably a couple months. They have the information, so I hope these council members that don't support this amendment won't come down a month from now and vote for your pay raise or vote for your compressed pay scale. Be consistent. Either you're for it or against it. I will tell you this. My reputation is on the line. I've always been consistent. The money is there. If the money was not there, I would not be supporting it. That'll pass.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment? Mayor?
So this is the right thing to do. Give these city employees a 3% cost of living increase and do something for the PD to retain the talent, the young men and women and our veterans, to retain them on our police force. This is what they're asking us as a council to do for them. I mean, I don't see where there's an issue. They sit here talking about, well, we got to approve the budget first. We got to do this. Let me tell you something. Mayor got a 2.8% raise last year. I've got it right here. This is a employee last raise report from the city controller. 2.8%. Guess what? That 2.8%, he gets it whether we approve the budget or not. Why can't he do the same for you all? That's what I'm talking about right here, is that this mayor raises all kinds of canes saying we got to do it my way. It's my way or the highway. That's not the way it's supposed to be, folks. This is a council. This is the way we're supposed to do things, the democratic way. And I say give you guys a 3% cost of living increase, compress the pay scale, because we got $35 million in the fund surplus. How can they say we don't have the money? Doesn't make any sense. They're trying to pull the wool over your eyes and everybody else's eyes out there. Don't let them do it to you. That I pass.
Thank you for comment. Any other comment?
Yes, Mayor, one quick comment.
You've already talked, sir.
Well, it's in defense of you.
Oh. Sure, you already talked.
I have to be honest with you. The mayor's salary is based on the district judge's salary. It's voted on by the legislature. It's been this way for years. He gets 75% of what a district judge makes.
Thank you, sir, but I never feel I have to defend
He still
myself
gets
these
it.
people up here. You're out of order, sir. That's wrong. You're out of order, sir. Kerry Bass, go ahead.
I hate to even speak. I feel like I'm on the Jerry Springer show. The budget is put together. There's a lot of thought put into it by the directors. We come up here, I'm 65 years old, and I feel like I'm in elementary. But we come up here, we're supposed to work together, and these motions to amend, I think we sat through about 7 or 8 of them last time. They're up here, they're theatrical. I think the budget is firm. I believe everybody up here on this council is for giving the folks at the city a raise. But we have to do it in a proper way. The police officers are standing back here, and we are going to take care of you. But it's going to be done in a proper way and not done through theatrics. I hate to even speak this. I look at these folks here as friends and associates. I'm taking a beating tonight, but I can't help that's just the way people like to do it. So I want to support the budget. I want to believe in our directors. I want to believe in our administration. And we're not yes men. We're businessmen, and we look after our city. So just watch and watch the fruits that come out. We will take care of the city folks. With that, I pass.
Thanks, sir. Any other comment? And again, these immature things that we're doing on these amendments, everybody up here is for taking care of everybody. This is totally immature politically. They want to play this game. Let them play this game. And let's go on with it.
Can you keep decent comments?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyways, On the amendment, all in favor?
Mayor, okay, we
No,
need,
no, we're voting on the motion.
This is the amendment
The amendment that he made.
I need a roll call vote.
Okay, a roll call vote. Starting in A. Bruce?
Aye.
Go ahead, I'll vote last.
No.
No. Okay, it brings us back to the original ordinance that we're passing, the budget.
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to make another motion.
Go ahead, sir.
So in accordance with the provisions of the Charter of the City of Pasadena, I submit a motion to amend the 2019-2020 Budget Ordinance 2019-157 to reduce account number 7108, business travel, by $12,000 and move to account number 33180 to the fund balance.
Second.
We have a second. Any questions?
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
so some people say immature behavior, stuff like that. It is good government to make amendments. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing inappropriate about amendments. It happens at the local government. It happens at the state level. It happens at the federal level. There is always amendments. This is the time you do it. You do it during a budget, a public hearing. The mayor said it was okay. He basically said, hey, I want you to make the amendments in writing, give it to me before the Tuesday's meeting. Councilmember Casados followed that process, and there is nothing inappropriate with it. That's government. We're going to debate, we're going to disagree, and there is nothing immature about that. Now, there is discussion about whether we can afford it or not. At the end of the day, you know, we pick and choose what employees we want to give raises to. I recently got an email from the city controller saying that people in the mayor's budget office got $25,000 worth of raises. So either we have the money or we can't afford it. And these are not promotions. These people have been in the budget office for 2 or 3 years. All they did was change their title. They're still doing the same job. So either we have the money or we don't have the money. But why would we be giving $25,000 worth of raises to 2 individuals in the budget office for the same responsibilities that they're still doing? So to me, is be consistent. Either we can do that, we have the money, or we don't have the money. That'll pass.
Thanks, sir. Any other comment? And those were promotions, not raises. Go ahead, sir.
Well, it's still taxpayers' dollars. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, I guess we go roll call on this. All in favor of the amendment, starting in A?
Yes.
Aye.
No.
No. Right back to the original. We're going to vote on.
Sir Mayor, I got another amendment to make.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. In accordance with the provisions of the Charter of the City of Pasadena, I submit a motion to amend the 2019-2020 budget ordinance number 2019-157 to reduce account number 7041 car allowances by $15,000, $7,200 from Department 10200, $4,800 from Department 10800, and $3,000 from Department 11400, and move to account number 33180 to the fund balance.
Second. We have a second. Any comments?
Mayor.
Second was Wheeler.
Oh. Yeah.
Comments?
Mayor.
Okay, what's it?
That's all right. Just
Comment?
go back.
Yeah, if you have a comment.
Yeah,
go ahead.
okay. So this is car allowances that we have that a couple of the departments here, one of them is the mayor's department, the other one is the city attorney's department, and the other one is the accounts department. First of all, the city attorney doesn't need a car allowance. The city attorney comes to the city, does his job here at the city, and, doesn't have to go across town, here or there, whatever the case. If he does, we have a pool vehicle he can take and use. We're paying him $4,800 a year as a perk. He already makes $170,000 a year. Why do we need to give him another $4,800 for a car? Doesn't make any sense. That's the reason why I'm cutting this right here. $7,200 from the mayor's department. The mayor drives all over town giving rides from every person in his administration. Rex has got a Tahoe he drives them around town in. James Rodriguez drives him around. Whoever has a vehicle, as long as he ain't got to drive, that's where he's at. You know, and he has no qualms about disagreeing either. He'll say, yeah, I'm with them. He rides around all day long with them. He doesn't need his car allowance should be the same as every council member up here. And that's why I'm making the motions to do what I'm doing. That I pass.
Any other comment?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
I do agree with that. If he's getting a car allowance, he doesn't need people to chauffeur him around. That I pass.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment? Okay, roll call vote, starting in A.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
No. Back to the original.
Mayor, I have another amendment.
Go ahead, sir.
In accordance with the provisions of the charter, the City of Pasadena, I submit a motion to amend 2019-2020 budget ordinance 2019-157 to reduce the account number 7307, which is the EDP charges, by $500,000 and move to account number 33180, which is the fund balance.
Second.
We have a second. Any comment?
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
this is $500,000 of IT expenses. I know we got to stay with the times and do things of that nature, but $500,000, we've increased $500,000 in the last year and a half in IT expenses. What we need to be doing is maybe trying to get either employees or somebody that knows how to work the equipment that we have. This is money that we could use for our officers and their pay and all this stuff. $500,000 is not, this is excess money we don't need. Put it back in the fund balance where we have money to where we can use, give back to the taxpayers. That's the whole goal here. I pass.
Any other comments?
Mayor, I'd like to also speak to this. It seems like I'm speaking too much maybe tonight, but I gotta defend our directors and I need to set the record straight. So some of these council members have been on council for 8 years, maybe some more, and they have voted for things over the course of the years for antiquated systems, for systems that are outdated, things like that. If you buy anything that has smartphone or Apple or Microsoft Word or anything, it's pretty much outdated when you leave the store. So to be better efficient in the city of Pasadena and for all departments to work together and to service our citizens, we have to upgrade our technology. We have to have records of work orders submitted. We need to update our systems for our permit department to say Pasadena is open for business. If we keep living 20 years in the past, we can't take care of our citizens. We have got to service our citizens with the best technology available, and we have the ability to do it. So I encourage my fellow council members to look at our technology state and where it's at today, because the last thing we need is inadequate systems, not only for our city employees, but our first responders. And with that, I pass.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
I think it was brought up in the past that the new IT system, for one thing, is going to eliminate overtime with our municipal courts.
Yes,
And I'm sure if a new system will eliminate some of the paperwork having to be done by employees in the municipal courts, I'm sure in other departments it's going to benefit them too, and possibly reduce overtime there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, roll call vote. Go ahead, sir. If you want to say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say, the council members shouldn't hit at each other council members. One they do, though, I got to rebut. I've been here a long time on council, but I'll tell you one thing, experience means a whole lot of difference. This council really doesn't change. We have ordinances, we got department heads. It's the courage to stand up and vote for the people sitting out there. You got to have the courage instead of rubber stamp everything. And I'll tell you one thing I'm proud of. I support the senior citizens, and there's something that came up that I didn't vote for. They want to spend $500,000 on 18th tee at the golf course for a waterfall. We voted that down. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, roll call vote starting in A.
Aye. No?
Aye.
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 No.
No. Back to the original.
Mayor, got another
Ordinance.
motion?
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. In accordance with the provisions of the Charter of the City of Pasadena, I submit a motion to amend the 2019-2020 budget, Ordinance 2019-157, to reduce account number 7107, professional services, by $3 million and move to account number 33180, the fund balance.
We have a second? Second?
Second.
Go ahead, sir. Thank you for paying attention. All right, any questions?
Mayor,
Point of information, you better made a second.
Bear seconded it.
Oh, didn't hear that. Okay, go ahead, sir.
I'd just like to make a comment. I mean, I agree council members like Councilman Casadas should be able to make amendments.
Absolutely.
But I would like to get them before the day of the council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment? Roll call vote?
Yeah,
Oh,
Mayor, we do,
go ahead.
You comment on
Go
that?
ahead. No, you're fine.
That's not what the memo from the mayor said. The mayor said that we shall give the amendment in writing before council meeting, and that's exactly what he did. And I pass.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor.
Go ahead.
Yes. So, again, to the council member, I followed the memo that the mayor gave us, and, I mean, this is where we're at. Long story short is though, but $3 million from professional service, these are contracts that we give to engineers and things of that nature, okay? The projects that we're doing are paid for by federal grant money. This money we're already getting back. I mean, this is $3 million for this. This is a sludge fund for the mayor to give contracts to his buddies so they can give to his campaign.
You're out of order, sir. You are definitely out of order, sir.
Okay? That's what this is for.
You're out of order.
And what I'm trying to say is I want to keep $3 million, put it back into the fund balance, because guess what? $3 million, $2.4 million of that we could use for a cost of living increase right now. And they don't want to vote on it. So that's where we're at.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment?
Mayor, I want to speak to this one as well. I want to defend it. We talk about FEMA money and paying for professional services. Those things are in the past. I want to read some projects that are coming up in the future that need to have professional services. Number one is, increasing in our CIP annuals for all districts for projects coming up in the future. $1 million for Thomas Avenue, I believe that's in District D. $1.6 million for Burke Road between Cherry Brook and Pasadena, design and construction for District E. $750,000 for Dabney sewer interconnect with B, E, and G. Also, too, if you drive down Strawberry and you look at Lafferty's getting a complete redo. So to say that we just need to wipe out professional services, you're wiping out your future. You're moving it to another place, and you're stagnating your future. So numbers represent projects and people. So please remember that. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
If I stand correctly, Thomas Avenue has already been funded. We've discussed that before. But we're talking about, he mentioned FEMA. There's $100 million sitting out there that the city's supposed to get $100 million. You mentioned FEMA. I want to discuss it.
Order.
Beg your pardon?
He's out of order. Go ahead.
FEMA has approved $100 million for the city of Pasadena. And I've been reviewing the last year where the other entities, what they're doing with their flood control to take care of it. It has nothing to do with outflows. What they're going to do is lower your streets, certain streets in Pasadena, 2 feet, and it'll take up to 6 inches of rain in 1 hour. And if after that 1 hour, if it get more than 6 inches, it's going to flood all the homes. Now, they're going to redo a whole lot of roads in Pasadena. And I discussed it with the Public Works Director. I said, why don't we, and I'll retire from the Corps of Engineers. We have 3 things. We had buyouts, we had detention pond, and channelization. These bowels and what we got in the city of Pasadena hadn't been worked on in the 50s. They need widened. We need to expand our outflow. Harris County, City of Houston, they're doing that, and amongst other things. And I talked to Public Works Director. He said, I'm the only council member that has talked to him about it. And therefore, that if we have any outflows, and all these councils talking about experience, I'm glad I got a little experience after all this time and work with the Corps of Engineers, that we don't have any outflows. So where is that going to go is 1 hour's time to 6 inches. Tonight, if it rains over 6 inches in 1 hour, the homes are going to flood. If it was
Thank
2
you, sir.
feet, that I pass.
Okay, any other comment? Vote, roll call. Go ahead, sir.
Just, we have an ordinance, an amendment on the table for reducing professional services by $3 million. And that's what I would like to speak to.
Thank you.
So it's been, I guess, there was you read a list there of some projects. Those projects are not in our budget. What this council votes on and what this city administers are the things that we vote on, this budget that we pass, the projects that we pass. An email floating around city is not binding. So if you send me an email, say, hey, we want to do these streets, and these streets, that's not what we're voting on. I will vote on that, but put it in the budget. And we're not wiping out professional services. We got $5 million for professional services. What we're doing is finding, if you go back over the last 3 years, about $5 million every year. Now we made it jump to almost 80%. But where are the projects in the budget? Don't send me an email say we want to do this. Make it binding. Put pen to paper. We passed $76 million in bonds. Not one project in District D. I'm not going to get burned again with fake promises.
Any other comments? And you would never promise any projects, sir. Okay, roll call vote. Nay, go ahead.
Mayor, one of the biggest problem up here is communication. And, you know, this council asked for a budget workshop. I think Councilmember Casados asked for a budget workshop. I think Harris and myself, I think even Councilmember Showbind even asked for a workshop, some additional workshops. And the reason that we asked for additional workshop was because that's the time we get to communicate. Now, this CIP, this other thing about we're going to do this street or that street, that is just something that somebody put together. It's never been approved by this council. Some of these council members are not even aware. I was talking to the city controller yesterday, and this is the first time that I've seen this so-called CIP. And all that's contingent on the budget, all that's contingent on what tax rate we adopt. And so if you want to work as a team, you need to communicate. And some of these council members didn't want an additional workshop, and that's how we get information out. I cannot support, and what Councilmember Casados is doing is saying, hey, look, I cannot support $3 million worth of professional services unless you come to me with a plan. You haven't came to me with a plan. And so I agree with Councilmember Casados is saying is, look, I can't support $3 million for engineers or architects or whatever unless you're telling me where this money is going. There is not a plan moving forward, and that is why I will not be supporting the rollback rate, because if I had to choose between government keeping your money or you keeping your money, guess what? Every time, hands down, every day of the week and twice on Sunday, I'm going to say you keep the money, not government. And so with that, I won't be supporting this amendment.
Okay, let's roll call vote. Go ahead.
Mayor,
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
should I speak? Councilor Barrow is correct. We did have some workshops. One. But these amendments could have been brought up in the workshops. The amendments also could be brought up in pre-council. That's why we have pre-council. Our mayor asked for any comments. No comments were made. These are saved. And by the way, we've got about 3 or 4 more coming up. And so if we talk about this in workshops, it's one thing. If we have it at pre-council, that's another. We need to be talking about this kind of stuff instead of waiting to get up here and discussing it. I think we can discuss it up here. That's fine in front of the public. But in pre-council or at that workshop, it would have been nice to bring up. I think at that time, we could have done something with these things. But anyway, we're going to sit here and go through about 3 or 4 more. So hang on to your hats.
All right, roll call vote.
Yes, Mayor.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I just would like to say that my opinion is I'd rather speak to the people out in the audience. I appreciate you coming and find out what's going on in this world, and people can watch us and find out what we think of up here. When they do it in pre-council, the public doesn't know, and you need to find out more and be honest with the people. That I pass.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now roll call vote, starting in A.
Aye.
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 No. Back to the original budget.
Yes, another
Go
amendment.
ahead, sir.
Thank you. There's two more left, okay? So, in accordance with the provisions of the Charter of the City of Pasadena, I submit a motion to amend the 2020 budget, ordinance 2019-157, to reduce account number 7101 of the rentals by $100,000 and move to account number 33180 to fund balance.
We have a second by Ibarra. Any comments?
Mayor.
Go ahead.
So we use rentals, auto rentals, things of that nature, so that the city employees can go use a P card or whatever the case may be, go rent a piece of machinery, if they got to get up high, a scissor lift, JLGs, whatever the case may be that they've got to have to perform the job and the duty that they're required to by the city. Doing a bunch of research and finding out where money was coming from, I came to the realization that, or during research, that the P cards are being charged to this account for rentals, and they're renting vehicles for staff members to drive around town and take these vehicles home. Okay? Something to the extent of $36,000, $37,000 up to date. Now, they're not only violating our ordinance by using P cards to do that, they're violating an ordinance by entering into a contract without council approval. So this is $100,000 that I want to take from that so they can stop doing that. Get everybody, let's cinch the belt up. Let's stop spending so much money, wasteful spending, and let's go through the proper chain. If you want to rent a vehicle, then bring it to council. If you want to go into a contract with Enterprise Rental, that is perfectly fine. Bring it to council. Don't go behind our backs and the taxpayers' backs and say, we're going to do it anyway, here's a P card, and our finance manager is sitting there in the back approving everything in complete violation of our ordinance. That I pass.
Okay. Roll call vote. Go ahead, sir.
We do have, I think there's 6 amendments here to this budget. In a budget of $119 million, I don't think 6 amendments is something to be frowned upon. It was an honest effort to try to reduce spending, to try to keep our taxes low, and also give our employees a cost of living increase. That being said, these amendments are no surprise. If anybody watched last council meeting 2 weeks ago, every one of these the exact same way was made. For a council member to sit here and be like, oh, we're just totally caught off guard, you've had over 2 weeks to chew on this. The administration's had over 2 weeks to chew on this and try to find a compromise, maybe somewhere in here. I think this is totaling $4.4 million in budget cuts. It's going to cost about $2.4 million to give city employees a raise. There's clearly a compromise in there somewhere. But to sit back and say that, we shocked you with this, it's not true. And we're just trying to do the right thing by citizens, by taxpayers, and by employees to find the money.
Okay. Roll call vote. A.
Aye.
Aye.
No. Back to the original, but you said you had one more. Go ahead.
One more, yes, sir. In accordance with the provisions of this charter, let me turn my mic on. In accordance with the provisions of this charter of the City of Pasadena, I submit a motion to amend 2019-2020 budget, ordinance 2019-157, to reduce account number 7448, the compensation study, by $762,000 and move to account number 33180, which is the fund balance.
We have not an aye, but a second by Harrison.
Second. Been a long night.
Thank you. Any comments?
Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes. So this is a compensation study. This is something that the mayor and a few council members want to do a study so they can see what do we need to be paying the city employees. A 3% cost of living increase is 2.4 million. A 2% cost of living increase is 1.5 million, and that's across the board. So how far is $762,000 going to get? It's not going to give everybody in the city a raise, I can tell you that. And 9 times out of 10, the people that end up getting raises are the people in the administration here in this building, instead of the guys out there busting their tails behind a shovel, digging ditches on that heavy machinery operator out there, trying to make the equipment work that we have that is outdated. So we need to take this money, put it back in the fund balance so that we can give city employees a raise across the board. I mean, it's simple. This is not rocket science, folks. $762,000 is not going to give everybody a raise. That I pass.
It's not meant for that. Thomas, you got something to say?
Mayor, again, you know, it seems like I'm speaking and the naysayer and this, that, or the other. I'm trying to present a factual side to many conversations that all of us as council members have hopefully heard through this process. The actual money being spent for the study is between $40,000 to $48,000. The $762,000 is already in the budget for when they determine the lowest pay scales within the city if they need increases to their pay rate, to their pay salaries. So the people that it affects the most is the lower tier and the mid-tier employees. You know, when you do a compensation study, and I've been involved in many of them over the last 20 years, it benefits the lower end of the pay scale to get them where they need to be. It doesn't compensate the high end. So, you know, $40,000+ for the study, yes. $762,000 is to provide the increases if it's determined that we do have the person out there in the field that needs to be brought up to a certain wage to have a competitive pay rate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
I'd just like to say I want to thank Councilman Shane Bine for his comments and the research he's done on this. And I'd like to go back to about the amendments. It was brought up that the public needs to hear the discussions. Pre-council is a public meeting. It is open to the public.
Thank you, sir, for that comment. Any other comment?
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
just like to mention that we have a budget of $119 million, okay? We have a budget book about three inches thick. Detail, accounts, okay? It takes time to wade through all of these accounts. What I've done, you sit down with the department heads, the budget director, our city controller, and you go through all of these accounts. At the end of the day, they're balanced. We got revenue coming in, expenditures going out, okay? There's $119 million worth. We got so much sales tax revenue coming in, so much property tax, so much industrial district tax. So we study this. We go through the whole thing and figure out, can we do this or can we not? If we don't get this much sales tax in at the end of the year, some of these things we may not be able to do, because at the end of the year, we need to be balanced. So I'm not going to sit here and vote on each one of these individual accounts until I go back and look at that big 3-inch budget. Can we do this? Can we move money from here to here? Can we balance it, or is it going to be out of balance? It's got to be in balance. With that, I pass, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Go ahead.
These compensation studies, if the city of Pasadena would determine to try to save some dollars like Sammy is, balance a budget and cut expenditures, the Corps of Engineers have a compensation study every year called locality pay. City of Pearland have one. The city of Pearland offered to give Pasadena the compensation study. All the other cities had this study. and they could share it with each other. And no, they won't. Even though it says $40,000, they put aside $700,000 in next year's budget. And therefore, it's expense we don't need. And the second thing, they want people to go to pre-council members. I mean, my senior citizen friend, they'd rather watch it on TV, and I'd rather watch them to watch it on TV. They don't have time to come up here and get in pre-council meeting, this back room back here. There's too much back room. And the other citizens. There's only limited space back here, and the accused people of not wanting to watch it on TV and to come up to pre-council is ridiculous in my book. That I pass.
Thanks, sir. Any other comment? Go ahead, sir.
So this is part of a study, $48,000 study that we're paying, and apparently it's to take care of employees that are paid the least. I don't need to pay someone $48,000 to tell me to raise wages on our lowest paid employees. Last meeting, I made a motion to ensure that nobody in the city of Pasadena made less than $15 an hour, and it was voted down. You can guess who voted against it. But I think that it wasn't a whole lot of people, but that $48,000 would have got a long way towards getting them there. It's just real simple. The small things, all these little things, these different budget amendments that we've proposed here add up to over $4.5 million. Just making small little cuts here and there get us there, save the taxpayer money, and take care of our employees.
All right, roll call vote. Go ahead, sir.
I kind of agree with Don. Councilmember Harrison is, city employees do your job. I can go to TML, Texas Municipal League, I can punch in a city, and I can get a salary of every single employee by classification. Not a rocket scientist, go do it. I'll take you up to my computer upstairs and show you. I can go file an open records request and say, what do you pay a Park 1 employee, City of Pearland, City of League City, City of Baytown? I can get all that information. Get your HR to do the job. Go out there, pull the information. It's that simple. You know, Councilmember Shaneby talks about cuts. I really don't know what Councilmember Shaneby went. A month ago, he was saying the spending's out of control and that we need to cut here, we need to cut here. Councilmember Casados just proposed $4 million worth of reasonable cuts, and every single time he's voted against it. So we talk a big game about being fiscal conservative. We want to cut, that things are out of control. But these amendments that he made, Councilmember Casados made, were reasonable. And yet, you know, what's going to end up happening here is they're saying there is no money, that we can't give raises, we can't do this. But if we're going to be consistent with our message, then I guess I'm not going to see a COLA or any type of compression scale on the agenda in the near future because we just can't afford it. That'll pass.
Go ahead, sir. You going to say something?
Sure.
Go ahead.
2 weeks ago, we did talk about these. I remember them. They were real vivid. My question is did Councilman Casados get with the administration in the last 2 weeks and go over these because they are important in your mind? They're $4 million or so. Did you get with the administration and says, hey, we really need to cover these things and talk about them, and it's so important we should have a workshop before this council meeting? Did you do that?
No comments. No comment. Go
I
ahead.
just have that question. Anyway, with that, I'll pass.
Okay. All right. Sir. Go ahead, sir.
It's councilman etiquette.
We know that, and we should know. We know that, sir.
Another councilman by name.
Okay, that's good, sir.
He didn't criticize if he's just asking him a question.
Get your finger out of my face, whatever your name is.
Out of order. Let's roll call vote. Go.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
And no. Okay, it brings us down to the original budget. We had so we opened there, so any questions on that?
Mayor, I do have a question on it. It was stated a couple of times during the motions that we wouldn't be seeing a COLA or the compression steps for our police officers. Mayor, you mentioned it personally that it would happen one way or the other, depending on the outcome of the property tax vote, which is in the future. But you made the comment that we will go forward. We may have to make adjustments, but we will go forward to take care of our police officers. They showed up in force tonight, and also, too, we need to send that clear message to our city employees. Every single council member up here, I didn't mean to point, Don, we are all committed to doing that. It'd be a unanimous vote. It's just the way that we get there to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment?
Mayor?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, this is the bread and butter of the whole thing. I'm trying to get to it as short and sweet as I can without calling people's names or making ridiculous statements like other people have that I've prior heard. This budget is dependent on the 60 cents per 100 assessed tax rate. Now, Sammy tried to make some cuts in good faith to the citizens of Pasadena. That's what this budget is based upon. If you vote for this budget, then come back, and they had the chance to support the police officers tonight, they voted it down. But the mayor's cover letter said he had no increases for pay raises, no suppression for the police officers. We're going over what he presented to us in the first original budget. And then the controller says, well, we got more appraised value, telling people that, and then the mayor comes out with his budget, said we had less values, and so they've got an effective rate, they got a roll call rate. Now, the roll call rate is the highest rate he can go before they have public input. In other words, the people got to vote on it. The effective tax rate is what revenue we're going to bring in from last year, and that gentleman's right. There's going to be $2 to $3 million more money this year, what he said, because of appraised value alone. You're going to be paying more tax dollars. And for them to support and say all this in the budget, it's not in the budget. And if they had the courage to vote for the police officer, why didn't they vote for it then? They didn't have it. And so when you vote on this budget today, you're actually voting on the 60 cents per 100 assessed valuation. And I'm for the effective tax rates, which is 54 cents per 100 assessed valuation. It's time, darn time we give the citizens, homeowners, and the small business people a tax break in this town instead of running around here trying to get the most taxes we can for the city hall.
Thank you, sir.
That I'll pass.
Any other comment? Go ahead, sir.
So this is on the budget. Like it's been stated, the 7 or 8 amendments that we proposed this evening come out to $4,389,000 in taxes. Okay, with a 3% cost of living increase, that would reduce that amount, that 4.3 million, by $2.4 million. We would have left over $1.9 million. Then with the compression pay for the police officers of $637,799, it would leave us with $1.3 million left over of the $4.3 million of proposed cuts, which in turn would pay for one of the projects over here, the insurance funding that Council Member Shanebein was talking about. That's extra money we could be using for the employees. And I'm looking out for the city employee. People are, some of the council members are talking about, well, you know, did you ask for this? Did you ask for that? Yes, I did. I asked for other workshops. I proposed these, and the administration, instead of them coming to me and say, hey, council member, man, your cuts are there, we don't agree, whatever the case is, let's try to sit down and work out. You know what he did? Sent out a memo making it harder for me to make the amendments. I want everything in writing. I want you to get the money, make sure that all the confirmation of funds, the whole 9 yards. Instead of him trying to work with me, he made it harder for me to make these. And I did it. I did what he asked because, again, trying to work together. I did it in good faith. And before the council meeting, he says, we're not going to let you hear him. We're not going to let the people hear him. That's what he told me, sitting right here. I said, here's the amendments. I'm not going to let people hear him. I don't know what changed his mind, but I'm glad he did. Long story short is, we could cut this thing by $4.3 million, help the help the employees out, and the police department.
Any other comment? The reason why, because you didn't follow the rules of that. I'm just giving you good faith by allowing these amendments. So there you have it. You did not.
Which way? Did I not?
You didn't get anything certified through an accountant. Thank you, sir. Okay, any other,
City control.
you're out of order, sir. Any other comment?
Wrote a
You're out
letter.
of order, sir. One more time, you're out of here.
Which you have.
One more time, you're out of here.
Mayor,
No, one more time, you're out of here.
Question.
calm down.
No, he needs a point of order. Okay, okay, we're fixing. Before we vote, Karen Wallace and Alan Teague, Dan, would y'all come over here, please?
Information. Do you have can the council have some type of rebuttal on this? You call
Absolutely not,
people up
no.
here?
Not unless
Well,
the
we
chair
know what
gives
they're
it
gonna say. They're gonna,
You're out of order, sir. One more time, you're out of here.
You don't have the authority to do that.
One more time, sir. You're out of order. Mr. Harrison, one more time, sir, please. Please. Ms. Wallace, go ahead.
All right. The reason I'm up here this evening is I'd like to address some points that were brought up at the last council meeting, make some corrections, make sure that the information is accurate. I'm deeply offended personally because my department was accused of backdoor dealing. We have the highest ethical standard in our department, and we follow it to the T in everything we do. I wish that we'd had an opportunity to discuss it in pre-council or in some other method so that misinformation was not distributed to the public. Regarding car wash expenses, the city has two purposes for purchasing car washes. The first purpose is to wash the vehicles that are sold at the city auctions, like that's coming up this weekend. Those are held 6 times a year, and the cost on that is about $1,200 per auction, okay? The second purpose, and that improves the sale price, but keep that in mind. We spend how much money to...
It's not on the
It's
agenda.
the budget. Yes, sir. Y'all brought this up in amendment, so go ahead, ma'am.
So if you're going to do that, then we're going to be able to ask questions.
The point is it
Absolutely not.
increases the sales value of the
I mean, you
vehicles.
can't just bring somebody.
Don't you have a car wash?
It's not on the agenda.
Yes, it is on the agenda, sir.
Which part?
Your amendment.
She's talking about the meeting last
You're out of order. Do
meeting,
not
which
talk.
is in the meeting,
Do not talk,
the
sir.
minutes of last
Officer,
meeting.
escort him out, please.
No. Officer, you don't have the authority to
Mayor,
escort me, sir.
point of information.
Yes, sir.
An elected official cannot be removed from a council meeting unless the council, by 2/3 majority.
All due respect, you don't have the authority to remove. No, sir.
Is the chief back there? Mayor, is the chief back there? Is the chief?
You do not have, you have 2/3 vote to remove a sitting council member from meeting.
If you read the adopted rules that we have under this law,
No, do you have?
this chair can dismiss someone.
well, these quote the state law.
Article 2, Section 2 of the administration's rules of conduct by any person attending a meeting of city council or public. It talks about any person that address city council,
Mr.
any
Ibarra,
person
Mr.
wishing to.
Ibarra, I'm not asking for your opinion on this, sir.
I'm quoting
I am not
city
asking,
order, sir.
I am not asking for your
Apologize,
opinion.
but I'm not.
Mayor,
I'm
may
not-
we get back to Ms.
Yeah, I'm not.
Harris so that we can
I
find out
tell you
the
what, officer,
information?
you're excused. Sammy, but you have to follow the rules. One more time, you will be dismissed. I promise you that. Our adopted rule says I can dismiss you, and we will stand by that.
You're-
I don't need your comment, sir.
Point of
Go ahead,
order.
Karen.
This is not on the agenda anywhere.
You're out of order.
This is a political show.
This-
Mayor, let's call a question, let's vote on the budget.
Mr. Barrett, please.
Let's just vote on the budget.
If we want to have this, we could have had it, like you said, we could have had it during pre-council.
Yeah, you could have it in
What is
pre-council.
this?
You're
It's a
just-
show.
Okay, no, y'all are making the show. This is facts about our budget. Y'all brought this stuff up, and you give facts that's not right.
I never
These are
once brought
facts
up a
that's
car
right.
wash during the budget.
Yes, you did. Last council meeting, you sure did.
Last council meeting, I sure did. That's during the minutes of the agenda.
I'm not hearing.
We're
that.
not talking about
I'm not
the
hearing that.
car wash and
I'm not here
budget.
to hear all this stuff. Let's proceed.
Mayor, I'd
That
like
was
to
on the
hear what
finance
the
resolution.
directors have to say concerning our budget.
Go ahead.
I do too, but I think that we ought to be able to ask questions
You're
at
out
the
of
same
order, sir.
time.
No, go ahead.
The second purpose of the car wash is for city employees who drive city vehicles. That's roughly $9,000 for the entire fiscal year. Councilman Ibarra had stated that we're spending $3,000 a month. The correct total is around $1,300 a month. Regarding Bass and Meineke, we've already talked about the
Which I would say
batteries.
is not a good fiscal policy for city employees to wash your own car. Not good government.
The check that you denied or voted against last council meeting and the check this council meeting were for services performed on city vehicles. More specifically, they are for front-end alignments.
Can we get
That-
those receipts, please?
The Controller's Office has all the
Order, sir.
receipts, not my
Karen,
office.
you don't have to- just
Okay.
read your statement.
To the front-end alignments or any kind of service like that is not covered on any contract. Therefore, there is absolutely nothing wrong with us having those services performed at Bass and Meineke. The contract, again, with Allen and Kerber, that is for specific car parts.
And the purchase is above $750
You're out of order, sir. You're out of order, sir.
at one time purchase?
Rest-
Out of order, sir.
Rest assured, my department is very diligent in making sure that vendors we have contracts with, our obligations with those vendors are honored. We don't do backdoor deals. We don't use another vendor because anybody tells us to. We go to a vendor that provides us the best deal. Bass and Meineke has done nothing wrong with regard to any of these purchases. There was another mention of, Councilman Casados brought up that in the month of July, there was $27,000 spent on a Pro Card for going to lunch and other things. 2,700? Okay, I watched the video a couple times to confirm.
You're out of- Go ahead.
What I was going to do is give you the actual figures for the July 6th through August 5th statement. The amount spent on food or at eating establishments was a little over $10,000. 6,600 of that was for events here at the city, such as functions at the civic center, at the senior center, things like that. The remaining balance of about 3,700, that's spent by city employees who are traveling, and they're using their per diem, their meal allowance for meals while they travel. And then lastly, the issue over Pro Card limits. The ordinance you referred to is from 2005. That was the origination of the program that's in place now. Over the last 14 years, it has evolved to provide a lot more efficient methods for procurement that save city time and money. We currently receive almost $25,000 annually in rebates. That's free money we get from using the credit cards. I'd like to see that number go up, personally. Our methods and practices have been lawful and accepted for years. It works well, and it is a very tightly run program. We've received no scrutiny until now. But now that it has been brought to our attention and the mayor's attention, however, we will look into it, and it will be fixed. Thank you.
Mayor,
No,
so,
no comment.
what do you mean, no comment?
I said no comment.
This is like, you talk about the gotcha games and everything
It's
else.
not
You want,
the
you
gotcha.
want, you want to come out here and bring someone to speak, and you don't want to have any rebuttal, any questions, or any information
Sir, you're out of
passed.
order. You are out of order.
Mr. T, I just got a question.
This is silly.
No, this is, I see protocol. Go ahead, sir.
Sir?
Don't y'all have car wash days?
Only for large garbage
No
trucks,
questions from
dump
the floor,
trucks.
sir. You have a
Okay.
statement, go ahead and make it.
You can actually wash the cars.
No
at-
comments from the, from.
All
I
right.
was just asking if they have a car bay to wash the cars.
You can have.
Earlier, the
It's only for
comments
big
were
trucks.
made about the two vehicles being bought for travel. If you recall, I answered your question in pre-council that one of those vehicles is for the senior center. That's the Suburban.
I do not recall.
It's there, I promise you.
Okay.
Okay? You know, when y'all ask us, you know, when council members, when y'all ask us questions,
Yes,
all right, y'all expect the truth, okay? And that's what we expect out of y'all also,
And I give it.
You're out of
okay?
order, sir. Again,
So,
not
it's
Mayor,
just.
we're not,
It's,
Mr. T, we're not here to be lectured by anyone.
No lies.
When we have questions, you answer them.
You're out of order.
That's
You are
it. We're not here to have a
Mayor,
public display,
Mayor,
whatever you want to call
may
this.
we address the
This is-
vote
this
for
is-
the
this
budget?
is This is crazy.
Thank you. We're good.
Mr. Teague,
I mean,
no.
Mr. T,
I really
what I
don't.
find funny
You guys-
is
I
that
did
we have
tell you
so many
that I
budget
oppose-
You
questions.
guys are out of order.
This is a
the
budget
vehicle
thing. That's
for-
not budget.
Oh,
You
that's
can't, it's
travel,
funny
right?
how you yourself can't answer any of these questions, but you parade city employees out here.
Because he
trying to
doesn't
do
know
it.
what's in the budget.
You don't know what's in the budget.
Oh, yeah,
And you
yeah,
can't have an
you don't
explanation.
know.
for me.
Mayor,
Answer yourself.
Mayor, let's call the question and let's vote on the budget, please.
You guys are unbelievable.
Mayor,
Thank
I
y'all.
second that.
Thank y'all so much.
Mayor, I'd like to have a discussion on the budget. I'd like to add something real quick.
Absolutely not, sir. We're going to the.
We haven't had discussion on the budget.
He hasn't
No, we
spoken.
haven't had any discussion. I just want to say something.
You mean
Let's call the
discussion on the-
question.
on the budget,
Let's
the
call the
budget.
question.
Okay, go ahead.
Call the question.
Go
You
ahead.
need a 2/3 vote to call a question.
So we're voting on, I just want to say something on the budget.
Go ahead.
But, so the thing about Alan Teague, great respect for Alan Teague, and I did discuss with him about the vehicles. And my discussion, and the reason I didn't support it is, what I told him before this council meeting, I didn't discuss anything with any department head, not that I have to, is I specifically said that if you want to have a travel vehicle for city employees to go out of town, it is more fiscally responsible to have a Malibu, an Impala, instead of a $47,000 Tahoe. That is very reasonable. And so this thing that I didn't discuss this with him, or I don't know what I'm talking about, he can tell you that I actually brought my concerns up to him. That'll pass.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Just one quick question. You know, I didn't talk to Alan Teague. He didn't talk to me, but he did come and talk to me right after pre-council and wanted to talk to me something about something on the agenda. And I said, well, I was supporting that already, but I would appreciate you call me anytime. I'd be glad to discuss it with you, or come by my office. We'll discuss it. But no, he did it right at pre-council. And also, Sammy talked to Karen Wallace last week. She would not give him his information he requested.
Thank you, sir.
She would not give it. And I pass.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
I don't know what that was. Several things weren't addressed, why we're not using our own wash station, why we're exceeding the $750 limits. And since last council meeting, we've had 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, you've come up with a memo to try to limit what council members can do here on council. And instead of coming to council members individually, instead of being a leader and trying to unite this council to say, actually, Councilmember Casados, here's what it is. Instead of Karen Wallace answering emails, instead of Alan Teague answering emails, sitting with us, what do? You set up a display that's disrespectful to the citizens and to these council members. That's what's freaking wrong with this city, is you're petty.
Mayor, I don't want to hear the personal insults.
He's
I'd
not
rather
done. Point
focus
of
on the
information, he's not
business
done.
of the council
That's-
instead of
that's
personal
fine.
insults.
Thank you. No, you finished your comment, sir? Sir, again, you're out of order. Again, y'all been out of order this whole time. Talking about,
You ought to leave the damn meeting, quite honestly.
oh, really, Sammy?
Yes, you should leave the meeting.
I don't need your comment, sir. That's unacceptable. Very unacceptable. Again, you're showing y'all's true colors, and again, it's very immature.
Mayor, I call a question on the amendment, on the budget.
And let's go for the vote. Let's go for the vote. We're going for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Well, that's what, it has to be roll call. Go ahead,
For the budget?
On the budget?
Yes,
No.
on the budget. Roll call
No.
vote. Go.
This is the
Yes.
main motion on the budget.
Go ahead.
Yes.
No.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It passes. Madam Secretary brings us down to first readings.
Man, barely.
Ordinance number 2019-161, contract with Perry Construction for the construction of a new maintenance building in the amount of $566,118 with 5% contingency of $28,305.90 for a total appropriation $594,423.90.
Motion.
So a motion by who? Caton, second by Casados. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
Ordinance number 2019-162, agreement with Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc. for a strategic plan for the city of Pasadena in the amount of $320,000.
Motion Caton,
Second.
second Shanebine. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
Ordinance number 2019-163, interlocal agreement with Harris County, Texas for library services.
Motion.
Motion Ibarra. Second Bass. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
Ordinance 2019-164, amend the Code of Ordinances of Chapter 34, Taxation, Article 3, Hotel Occupancy Tax by amending Section 3440, Hotel Motel Registers, subsection D.
Motion Casados. Second Harrison. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
Ordinance 2019-165, amend the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 36, Traffic, Article 11 and a half, golf carts at Section 3681, operation of golf carts permitted.
Motion Casados.
Second.
Second Shanebine. Any questions? All in, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to see this come this way a little bit too. Main part of Pasadena in neighborhoods, so they can use golf carts as well.
We can look at that. All in favor? Any opposed?
Ordinance 2019-166, application for the fiscal year 19 Edward Brown Memorial Justice Assistant Grant from the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, Bureau of Justice Assistance for the federally funded amount of $48,889.
Motion.
We have a motion, Shanebine, second by Lehman. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolutions, Madam Secretary?
Resolution 2019-142, donation of $500 goes sponsor from Kroger for Team Up to Clean Up.
Motion Casados. Second Bass. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
Resolution 2019-143, donation of 2 pallets of bottled water valued $1,000, platinum sponsor from Crystal Geyser for Team Up to Clean Up.
Motion.
Motion Shanebine, second Casados. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
Resolution 2019-144, donations of a gift card valued $250 to purchase building supplies from Thrivat Financial Silver Sponsor and Ice purchase valued at $500 from Steve and Sharon Andreno, Go Sponsor for Team Up to Clean Up.
Motion Casados, second by Wheeler. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
Resolution 2019-145, donation of 4 wheels for sports wheelchairs and 2 wheel bags valued $550 from Clarissa Gonzalez for the Multipurpose Center.
Motion Casados, second by Lehman. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
Resolution 2019-146, donation $100 from the Gulf Coast Educators for Madison Joe Senior Center Senior Events.
Motion.
Motion Shanebine, second Caton. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed?
Resolution 2019-147, donation of Gator trash capturing system to be installed at 801 South Street valued at $12,800 from Waterway Cleanup Services.
So moved.
So moved by Bass, second Casados. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed?
And Resolution 2019-148, appointing Brenda Hillier to the Board of Pilot Commissioners for a 2-year term.
Motion.
Motion Shanebine, second by Wheeler. Any questions?
Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
Just to end this on a very positive note, Ms. Brenda Hellier is from San Jacinto College, and she has a tremendous knowledge of maritime practices, and she oversees the Maritime College out at San Jac, and I think she'll make a wonderful asset to the Port Commission for
Thank
this
you,
new
sir.
position.
You have a comment?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I know Brenda real well. She's chancellor at San Jacinto Junior College. I think she'll be a great appointment. But our community relations director failed to let us know in pre-council what the significance is. They're going to have determination over collisions in the ship channel, who's at fault. It's a great, important position. And it's a parallel to the Port Commission, as the mayor said. But I know, Brenda, she's going to do a great job. That I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All in favor? Any opposed? I want to thank everybody for coming out. Sorry for the display of breaking all the rules by council. It won't happen again. God bless you.